Welcome back to my Book of Mormon Summaries. We're in Alma 47. Now we will return in our record to Amalickiah and those who fled with him into the wilderness. For behold, he had taken up those who went with him, and went up to the land of Nephi among the Lamanites, and did stir up the Lamanites to anger against the people of Nephi, insomuch that the king of the Lamanites sent a proclamation throughout all of his land, among all of his people, that they should gather themselves together again to go to battle against the Nephites. And it came to pass that when the proclamation had gone forth among them, they were exceedingly afraid. Yea, they feared to displease the king, but they also feared to go to battle against the Nephites, lest they should lose their lives. And it came to pass that they would not, or the more part of them would not, obey the commandments of the king. Now it came to pass that the king was wroth because of their disobedience. Therefore he gave Amalickiah the command of that part of his army which was obedient unto his commands, and commanded him, Amalickiah, that he should go forth and compel them to arms. Now behold, this was the desire of Amalickiah, for he being a very subtle man to do evil, therefore he laid the plan in his heart to dethrone the king of the Lamanites. Now it was not Amalickiah's intention to give them battle according to the commandments of the king, but behold, it was his intention to gain favor with the armies of the Lamanites, that he might place himself at their head, and dethrone the king, and take possession of the kingdom. It came to pass that when Amalickiah found that he could not get Lehonti, the king of the army that would not go to war for the Lamanites, he could not get him to come down off the mount. He went up to the mount, nearly to Lehonti's camp, and he sent again the fourth time his message to Lehonti, desiring that he come down, and that he would bring his guards with him. And it came to pass that Amalickiah caused that one of his servants should administer poison by degrees to Lehonti, that he died. But behold, the king came out to meet him. Amalickiah caused that his servants should go forth to meet the king. And they went and bowed themselves before the king, as if to reverence him because of his greatness. And it came to pass that when he had raised the first from the ground, behold, he stabbed the king to the heart, and he fell to the earth. And then they said, Behold, the servants of the king have stabbed him to the heart, and he has fallen, and they have fled. Come, behold, and see. Now when the servants of the king saw an army pursuing after them, they were frightened again, and fled into the wilderness, and came over to the land of Zarahemla, and joined the people of Ammon. And the army which pursued them after them returned, having pursued them in vain, and thus Amalickiah by his fraud gained the hearts of the people. Moroni had been preparing forts, banks, walls. Moroni was a strong and mighty man. He was a man of perfect understanding, yea, a man that did not delight in bloodshed, a man whose soul did joy in the liberty and freedom of his country, a man whose heart did swell with thanksgiving to his God for the many privileges and blessings. The Nephites were taught to defend themselves, never to give an offense, except it was to preserve their lives. The third time. If all men would be like unto Moroni, behold, the very powers of hell would be shaken forever. He's pretty upright. Now, the leaders of the Lamanites supposed that because of the greatness of their numbers, yea, they supposed that they should be privileged to come upon them as they had hitherto done. Yea, and they had also prepared themselves with shields and with breastplates, and also girded themselves with garments of skin, very thick garments to cover their nakedness. It came to pass that the Lamanites, or the Amalickiahites, were exceedingly astonished at their manner of preparation for war. Therefore they retreated into the wilderness, and took their camp and marched towards the land of Noah, supposing that to be the next best place for them to come against the Nephites. But behold, to their astonishment, the city of Noah, which had hitherto been a weak place, had now, by the means of Moroni, become strong, yea, did exceed the strength of the city Amalickiah. There are also timbers round about the cities, and towers. I'm summarizing a lot for this chapter. But behold, there was never a happier time among all the people of Nephi since the days of Nephi than in the days of Moroni, yea, even at this time, in the 21st year of the reign of the judges. The king men wanted to overthrow the free government. The free men wanted to maintain a free government with judges. A petition unto the governor of the land, desiring that he should read it, to give Moroni power to compel the dissenters to defend their country or put them to death, and it was granted. And thus the Lamanites obtained by the cunning of Amalickiah many cities by their numberless hosts, all of which were strongly fortified after the manner of fortifications of Moroni. all of which afforded strongholds for the Lamanites. So the Lamanites started conquering cities. Teancum stole privily into the tent of the king and put a javelin to his heart.